Hello, hello. If anybody's there, I am Libryia Jones. I am the founder of Quick Commuting. Once a month, the last Saturday of the month, I do a live remote work Q&A session. So I'm just here for you guys to ask me anything you want to know about working remotely, about traveling. You can ask me about Tulsa Remote. You can ask me about whatever. Honestly, I'm usually pretty much an open book. I just want to also call out that next month, good morning. Next month, we're going to start doing this on the quick commuting YouTube channel. Instead of doing it on my channel, I will give y'all the link to that. Um, I might just like stop by here and then go over to quick commuting so that folks know. But yeah, my channel is going to become a little bit something different. But yes, hello, good morning, happy Saturday. I don't know where I got this accent, but what questions do you have about working remotely? I want to answer them. What do you guys want to know? How is the job search going for you? Also, quick heads up, we are going into the September surge. September surge means that September is the highest, one of the most active hiring seasons of the year. So a lot more companies are, open to hiring the end of the year. What's happened is people are back from vacation, their kids are back in school, they're settled, and so now they're getting back to, the backlog of jobs that they were supposed to fill before the summer started, right? So most companies come into the year. February is kind of a big hiring um, season as well because budgets are open. Let's break down the cycle. Let's do that. I'm gonna do that. This is an impromptu, and in the meantime, feel free to ask me questions. But you know what? Let me go live on Instagram too, so I can share this. So, folks, because I feel the need to kind of give folks a little bit of hope, um, real fast. We're gonna go live on Instagram as well. Give me just a second to do that, guys. All right, there we go. What up, Instagram friends? Ooh, my camera is dirty. Okay, so I am live on YouTube and I was about to share some stuff with them, but I felt like I should share it with my Instagram homies as well. Let me clean my camera off. Sorry, guys. I clearly don't have it together today. There we go. Oh, that's way better. Hey, that's me. Um, so on Saturdays, I usually do a live Q&A session. Not Saturdays. Every Saturday, I do a live Q&A session with my Quick Commuting Academy. So if you ever want to join the Quick Commuting Academy and hang out with me once a week, because I'm fun, but I also give good advice, you can join the Quick Commuting Academy. If you go to quickcommuting.com and click on community, you can join the academy and you can cancel at any time. It's like $29.99 a month. Anyway, so every week we get together and I do a weekly live Q&A with the group and answer questions about remote work and, whatever people want to know, really. Sometimes people ask me about moving to Tallahassee and my Airbnb, but typically the topic is remote work. But once a month, I do it for free on YouTube. I want everyone to know that starting next month, this will start to be on Quick Commuting's Instagram and YouTube. So please subscribe to Quick Commuting's YouTube channel and subscribe to Quick Commuting's Instagram, because I'm going to start doing this more often on the Quick Commuting side, because my side is going to be more travel and lifestyle stuff. Right now, I'm focused on fitness on my own account. Anyway, here's why I wanted to come to Instagram, because I started this conversation over here with my YouTube friends, Liberty, Martisha, Planet L, Toya, hi, talking about how the job market sucks. The job market has sucked for a while. I know a lot of people are very frustrated with the job market. It's really hard to get jobs right now. There's a lot of reasons for that. And I have a YouTube video coming out about that in a couple of weeks. But we are going into the September surge. And I want to tell you about kind of hiring cycles. And this is just what I've noticed. I want to be very clear. I am not an HR professional. I never have been, but I pay attention to a lot of this stuff, right? I've been helping people land remote jobs for about 5 years now. And so these are things that I've just noticed. So if you are an HR professional or a recruiting professional or something like that, feel free to comment and either correct me or affirm that what I'm saying makes sense. Okay. So hiring typically happens throughout the year, but large hiring happens in cycles. Like bulk hiring happens in cycles. September happens to be one of the biggest cycles. And I want to talk about why. I should personally be doing government contracting. Tell me more about that. Anyway, I September, we call it the September surge. So in the career space, we call it the September surge because it is the most active hiring season of the year. It is usually the most active hiring season of the year. And here's why I believe that is. Okay. So my HR people, check me on this. Here's why I believe that is. So what really happens is budgets typically come open at the beginning of the year, January or February time. So now budgets are open at the beginning of the year because February is also February through March are also very active hiring seasons as well. Or is it March and April? March and April are also very active hiring seasons, but because budgets have just opened and now people are like, look, I have all these strategic goals that I need to meet for the year, and the budgets are open, and so now I can go and hire for people to fill the roles to meet my strategic goals for the year, right? So now I can go ahead and spend the money. So that happens between April and March, right? So it gets pretty active. But then summer comes, right? So people are posting jobs March, April, and then summer comes and it's like, ain't nobody trying to do interviews. People trying to go on vacations because it takes about 3 to 6 months to fill a role on average. It takes about 3 to 6 months to fill a role. So if they post these roles April, March, or March, April, I don't know why I'm saying it that way. March, April, 3 months from March is March, April, May, June is June. People are on vacation. So what happens is people start trying to fill these roles, right? When they first post them, they're very active. They're calling people back. They're interviewing people. The hiring managers are interviewing people. But then summer comes and people are like, boo, I got work to do. And also I got vacations to do. And also my kids are out of school. So I got to figure out what to do with these children. Right. And so then August comes, everybody goes back to school. People are not on vacation anymore. And then by September, everyone's settled and they're back to trying to fill those roles they posted in March and April. But also, excuse me, but also people have shifted and moved over that last 3 to 6 months, and things have changed. And so they have other objectives and other roles that they need to fill. People have gotten promoted because somebody's annual eval came up or whatever the case may be. And so people started getting promoted. So a lot of shifts happen. And so September becomes one of the highest or most active hiring seasons of the year. People are back from vacation. Kids are back in school. People are focused and people are trying to really make sure that they hit their goals by the end of the year. And some of that goal is spending their budgets, and some of that goal is filling roles so that they can complete the things that are on their strategic plan. So I know that I just freestyled that. So if I was wrong about that, please, HR people, let me know. Feels right to me. That's what it seems like to me, right? That's just me watching the trend and making my own theories about it. So I know hiring season or the job market has been really, really tough lately. And I'm not saying that September is going to be magical and completely change that. All I'm saying is September is typically going to be more active, right? So now is a really good time to have your ducks in a row. Now is a really good time to like make sure your resume is tight. Make sure your resume looks really good. I highly recommend going to two people, Not Your Mother's Resume. She actually does free resume reviews in our community every other week. So 2 times a week, you can come in our community and have Chelsea, who has been a recruiter for some of the biggest name companies that you've seen. She's currently a recruiter at Facebook at Meta. And she will review your resume for you and give you feedback. And I love her because she's very direct and she's funny. And then you also have Resume Addict, who's my girl, Charnay. She is incredible. Okay. So now is a really good time to get that resume together. Now is also a good time to go ahead and set aside time to be applying for jobs, right? Let's not use that easy apply button. Let's not do that. Let's like actually sit down and apply for jobs. Okay. Somebody said, I landed a project lead role after 8 months of job host hunting. I've only been in the role 3 months, but wondering if it's okay to start applying during the September surge. Why wouldn't it be okay? If it's not a job that's a fit for you, get back to looking. So my question back to you is, Tiff, and I'm going to repeat the question. Um, oh, thank you. Someone on Instagram just mentioned that not your mother's resume, Chelsea, who is our resident resume expert, she reviews our resumes in the Quick Commuting Academy, transformed her resume and it's been a hit ever since. She says she highly recommends. Yay! Thanks for that feedback. Let me screenshot that so I can send it to Chelsea. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Um, so I'm gonna repeat this question. Hey, Leila. Hey, girl. Hello. How are you? Um, Good morning. I landed a project lead role. So this person landed a role. She's been in the. It took her 8 months to land the role. She's only been in the role for 3 months, and she's wondering if it's okay to start applying during the September surge. So my question for you, I have two questions for you. Back to you. One, why are you looking again? That's one. And two, why are you afraid to start? Like, why did you ask the question? Why are you concerned about looking again? So let me know, Tiff, if you have the chance, and I will try to address this about what my assumptions are, because I'm making some assumptions. My assumptions are you feel like because you pointed out that it's taking you 8 months to land this job, you feel like it might take that long to land another one. And so my guess is either you don't really like this job or you just want to have a backup plan. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a backup plan. Um, I really suggest like stepping your foot in the job market and applying for jobs once a year or, once every 18 months. What's a year and a half? 18 months, right? Just to see what's out there, what's available to you, right? And so that you can stay on top of your game. But so my assumption is because it took you 8 months, you want to go ahead and get the party started in case it takes 8 months to get to another place. You want to have something in your back pocket in case this doesn't work out. Or you just don't like this job and you have realized that it's maybe not be for you. It may not be for you. So I'm going to say a couple of things. One, I think it's okay to start applying and start looking. I think a lot of people are afraid to look like job hoppers. Here's the thing. If you got another job, you left this job and you got another job, you don't have to put this one on your resume. Especially if you were there for less than 6 months. So one of the things that I do on my resume, sometimes what you can do on your resume is instead of putting month to month, you can put year to year. And that way, no one ever sees the things that you did for 3 months or 4 months, right? 3 months to 6 months. Or if you put the things that are 3 months to 6 months, you can identify it as a contract role, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. Lord. So yeah, okay, I was right. She said that the role's not a good fit. She doesn't feel challenged. The pay isn't great, and 8 months of job hunting was exhausting. So that said, yes, please start finding the next thing. There is nothing wrong with getting a bridge job, right? And this is what I would consider. This is a bridge job. Like maybe you were in a situation where you needed to get out of your old job because it was stressful. Um, it was a long commute and you just wanted to figure out a way to get remote, or maybe you were unemployed. There's nothing wrong with getting a job that bridges you over, the challenges that you're facing right now, knowing that you're going for something else, right? There's nothing wrong with you doing that. And so I would just say, when you're applying for jobs right now, you don't have to put this job on your resume unless, excuse me, let me drink some water, y'all. The struggle. Oh, let's struggle. Unless there's something in this job that has experience that you need to transition. Let's say this is a transition position, right? Let's say you were trying to transition from being a teacher to a project manager, and this is your first project manager role, right? And so you want to use those skills. You could put that on your resume as well. And it's just about how you talk about it, right? Like you could just identify it as a contract role, right? A short-term role or a contract role on your resume. Who's going to check you? Is that lying? I guess it is. I am telling you to lie on your resume. Jeez. Libryia. I have done that before though, where I've done it before where if I was only there for 6 months, I kind of identified it as contract or temporary work because the experience was important, right? But I definitely wanted to navigate around looking like a job hopper. And I think here's what I'm gonna say about this. I think that we are put as job seekers are put in an unfair position because nobody really like wakes up every morning, is born into this world, and it's like, you know what, I really just want to work, right? We work because we have to work. We work because we need to work. We work because that's how our society works, right? And companies will hire whoever they want and fire whoever they want. And it's really all about them making money for maximizing shareholder value. Be those shareholders like actual stockholders or owners, or even, excuse me, a foundation board or the benefactors of a foundation, right? Even if it's a nonprofit, everybody is in the business of maximizing value to whomever their stakeholders are, their financial stakeholders are. But then we are treated like we're not supposed to just be out here looking for money. It's just not fair. And so looking at somebody and say they hopped a job, and if they asked you the question directly and asked you, why did you leave this position that you've only been in for 3 months, and your answer was, what did you say? It's not a good fit. I don't feel challenged and the pay is not great. They would act like it's you're the problem, when that is the truth. Because here's the thing: if you worked somewhere and you weren't a good fit, and they felt like you weren't challenging the role, or like, stepping up to the role, they would let you go in 3 months. You should be able to let them go in 3 months. You know what I mean? And so I think it's just a little bit frustrating that we have to navigate those conversations in such a way that we can't just be honest about the game we're all playing. We are all playing the same game. They are trying to maximize financial value to their stakeholders, and so are we. I am also trying to maximize financial value to my stakeholders. The people who want my light bill money, the people who want my mortgage money, my kids' tuition. If you got babies, the people that own Pampers, who is that, Procter and Gamble? Like, you have financial stakeholders as well. And so all of us in this game are trying to do the same thing, maximize financial value to our stakeholders. But we get dinged for making the decisions that lead us to being able to do that. I just went on a whole rant, but I feel very strongly about this. And so back to you only being there for 3 months. I'd say go ahead and look for the job. Just be careful how you talk about it on your resume. Just be very careful how you talk about it on your resume. If you decide to put it on your resume, you might not want to. You might want to. It really just depends on kind of what your goal is. Somebody said they have, been creative on their resume for switching their role name because their role didn't exist in the market. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Companies make up titles all the time. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. Identify the role as something that is related to what you're looking for. Like, you might have been a senior project manager, which may also relate to being a program manager, right? Just, I think, and that one's very straightforward, but there are some roles that like companies just be making up. I'm going to give you an example of two roles that are the same and it's totally different names: business analyst and solution consultant. Pretty much the same thing. Those are the same thing. It's just some companies call them one thing and some companies call another thing. I will also say that for business owners. So as a business owner, you may not want to put entrepreneur or founder or CEO on your resume, right? But as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you have done a number of roles, right? You are marketing, you are operations, you are finance, you are accounting, you are social media manager, you are all these things. And so I'd say as an entrepreneur, when you're applying for roles, make sure you pull out the experience that from your business that are relevant to the job that you're applying for, and title yourself in a way that is relevant to the job that you're applying for, right? If I'm applying for operations role, if I'm trying to be the director of strategy and operations, I don't need to put entrepreneur or founder, and B, I don't need to put marketing because it has nothing to do with the operations piece. I'm going to call myself the VP of operations or the director of operations, and I'm going to list out the things that I have done in my business that are operations related, right? Somebody said, my current contract ends in 3 months. I'm looking for a remote PM role, but will probably need a bridge job. Would you have any ideas of potential jobs that would add value to my CV? Why do you think you need a bridge job? I find it interesting that the first thing that you said was you need a bridge job. Do you mean that you need W-2 employment versus contract? I'd like to get something relevant in case it takes longer to reach my end goal. Okay. I don't know what your end goal is, and I don't know what your past job is, so I don't know what's relevant. Simi, I need more information to answer that question because you're not telling me what role you were in. Were you already a PM, or are you trying to transition into being a PM and you were doing something else? And that's why you think you need a bridge job, right? If that's the case, I don't know what you were doing before, so I don't know what would be relevant. But I would say, I think you don't have to pick one strategy, right? That's the other thing. You don't have to pick one strategy. I'll tell you, back in the day when I was moving into being a project manager, I had previous experience doing customer service, right? So this is pretty early in my career, early in my professional career. I had a resume for being like a manager of a customer service teams or director of customer service, and a resume for being a project manager. And I pursued both options to see which one I can get faster. So there's nothing wrong with creating a resume and having a resume template that matches the things that are the easiest for you to get. The other thing I'm going to tell you is project management it's so crazy how so many people want to be project managers and think they can't. It got to be the most basic job out there, y'all. The project manager is like beige Uggs. Like anybody can wear them. Like it's builder beige paint. You could paint it anywhere. Just because almost every job has a component of project management. All of y'all have done project management. All of y'all have done some form of project management in some way. It's just really you making sure that you are identifying and looking through the job postings and not paying. I think you guys focus, I think people, let me not throw allegations at you specifically, but people in general tend to look at project management job postings and focus on the things that they don't have in their background, and they miss all the things they do have. I'm willing to bet you guys a lot of that stuff you have in your background. I've actually hosted a whole session on it. I did a session on how to break it in project management, and it was a good session. If you join the Quick Commuting Academy, you can go back to our video library and watch it. It was so good because we went through this exercise of listing out some of the things that project managers do, and people had to say whether or not they've done it before. And most people said yes to most things. But yeah, I think a strategy can definitely be to try to find a bridge job. Somebody said employers lie to us when they withhold their intentions. So it's only right that we practice the same behavior. I'm going to slide on past that. Somebody said I'm location independent now, but want and need to attract more clients in the French market. I love what I do. That's amazing. I teach business class. I teach business English to French businessmen and women located in France. Oh, that's awesome. That is excellent. Did you guys hear this? If you're bilingual, this might be a good one. She teaches business English. So a lot of people go and be English teachers, go abroad to be English teachers to children. This is a good market, teaching business English to adults. That's good. I mean, I'll tell you, for me, that's a big one because like I speak Spanish like maybe like a 9-year-old Colombian kid. I won't feel fluent in Spanish until I can give a business presentation in Spanish. Like I need to learn how to speak professional Spanish. Like I want to be able to talk about data management and software implementations in Spanish. All right. Does anybody on Instagram have any questions for me? All the questions I have been from YouTube. I cannot believe I said the things that I said on this live. One of the top reasons they hired me is because I'm fluent in French. Excellent. I'm currently a PM in the nonprofit industry in Central America. There are very few fully remote roles. There are not very few fully remote roles. I'm going to disagree with you on that. What do you mean by very few? Because like if I did a search for project management roles right now, I feel like I get a crazy number. I have a list of 200 fully remote companies in the quick community in my remote ready bundle. So I just don't agree with you. Um, but they are harder to get. Yes. Remote roles are harder to get. So if you guys had been hanging out with me in 2015, if y'all had been listening to me in 2015, life would have been so much easier for y'all. But now that everybody knows that remote work is really a thing, I feel like I've been telling y'all this for like 10 years. I've been telling y'all this for like, yeah, almost 10 years. But nobody was listening to me back in 2015. Everybody was like, oh, yeah, it's not for me. But now that everybody knows remote work is out there, now everybody wants remote jobs. And so competition is so much higher. Competition in the remote work world is so much higher. And I'm going to add to this for you, Simi. Project management is very competitive too, because a lot of people want to be project managers. So you're adding on top of things. Here's what I would suggest. And this is a freestyle. I haven't put any thought into this until this very moment. If you want to be a project manager, I think at this point, it's time to identify a specialty. This is a freestyle. Like I've literally put no thought into this. Just hit me in this moment. Project management is so competitive right now because everybody's trying to do it. Because like I said, it's basic page. Project management, no matter what industry you're in, is project management. Like the job is the job. And so now I think if you want to get into project management, you might start specializing in certain things, right? So maybe you tack on an understanding of machine learning. Maybe you tack on an understanding of specific types of software and automation. Maybe you tack on an understanding of marketing methodologies, right? Maybe you start branding yourself as a specific type of project manager so that you can be more competitive in specific spaces. I wonder if that's the move. I have no idea if it is. That was a whole freestyle. I was theorizing in the moment. I wonder if that's the move, though. When you have so many people moving into such a broad industry, again, project management is so generic. I've been in project management for like 13 years almost. Yeah, it's very generic, incredibly generic. Um, unless I think project management gets to be specific if you're like in construction. Construction is very specialized, right? Because you have to be very aware of a lot of different codes and all this other stuff. But project management, I mean, let me tell you something. I work in tech. I came from finance into this role. And one of my coworkers came from like being a production assistant on a reality TV show. Generic. And so I think it's a good idea to identify areas where you can specialize because that allows you, that just kind of gives you a leg up over the other people that you're competing with. It kind of adds to your um, toolkit, right? So let's say you're a project manager, but but you also have coding experience. That's a whole different project manager than I am because all I can do is talk to people about what they coded. I'm not coding nothing. I ain't developing nothing. You hear me? Nothing. Um, yeah. So like I said, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading a YouTube response. I prefer location independent roles over remote. I'm not saying anything different than what you're saying. There still are, like I said, there's a list of 250 work from anywhere companies. Remote first. When I say remote first, I mean companies that really don't care where you work from, for the most part. Uh, Excellent. But yeah, I think that yes, project management jobs are hard to get. Um, project management jobs are hard to get. Also, add on everybody's trying to get a remote role now because everybody knows it exists and everybody knows that it's for everybody. When I was talking about this in 2015, people were like, oh, that's for developers, that's for tech people. And now people are like, oh, wait, finance, accounting, operations, HR, we can all do remote. I'm like, I've been telling y'all this. I've been telling y'all this. Can you speak to the necessary skills that PMs should fine tune no matter their specialty? Um, No, it's not. No, what's not? My current role is student intern and education coordinator. I'm a social worker. How can I pivot? Pivot to what, love? I'm sorry. Let me answer this YouTube question first because that caught my eye. Sorry. Can you speak to what's necessary skills knowledge that PM should fine tune no matter their specialty? I think PM should fine tune the skills that are necessary to be a project manager. Project managers are uh, organization, communication. I'm gonna tell you something. For me, as a project manager, I think like the biggest. I don't want to turn this into a project management training, but I think the most valuable skills that you can have as a project manager are a couple of things. One, it is the ability to be a servant leader. Number one, I think a lot of project managers think that they run things and you really don't. Project managers are facilitating and enabling a team of people who have a specialty to get something done. Your whole job is to make it as easy as possible for those people to meet the objective. For instance, let's say, I'm not even going to take it to tech. Let's say you are managing a project for someone to create a documentary, right? You you are not you are not a videographer. You are not the editor. You are not the talent or the person that's going to be in front of the camera. Like you don't do the things that actually make the end product, right? The people that do the things that make the end product are the MVPs. And your whole job is to make it as easy as possible for them to do what they're good at. It is to make it as easy as possible. That means removing the roadblocks. That means protecting them from outside distractions. That means having their back and advocating for them. That means taking care of the administrative stuff so they don't have to, right? So you got videographers, you got the producer, you got the director. All of those people are actually creating something. Your job is to make it as easy as possible to create it, right? So I think being a servant leader and understanding how to protect, advocate for, and make it as easy as possible for the teams to do the things that they're doing is a huge, I'm talking about huge. And here's one reason why it's huge. Project managers don't really have a lot of direct power. A lot of times the people that are on your team don't report to you. So you can't make them do nothing. But you need to hit these dates. You need to hit these deadlines. You need them to get work done. You need them to care about it. You need them to update you and communicate with you. And so the best way to get that power, quote unquote power, is to have them, is to make sure that people trust you. And the way they trust you is because they know you are going to make it easy for them to do their job well. You are going to advocate for them. You are going to protect them. You're going to communicate with them. You're going to let them know what's going on. You're going to be a servant leader, right? Because again, in most organizations, nobody reports to the project manager. You're not their boss, but you kind of have to act like their boss. And so the only way that relationship works is if you are giving them what they need, and then they'll give you what you need. So I think one huge skill that project managers need to fine tune is servant leadership. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go back and answer this question that somebody asked me on Instagram. My current role is a student intern education coordinator. How can I pivot? I'm going to give this general advice for pivoting. Okay. If you are trying to pivot in any career, I don't care what it is, what you need to do is one, look at 3 to 5 roles that you would be interested in that career, right? I don't care what role you're trying to get into and what role you had before. Look at 3 to 5 roles that fit the job that you're trying to get into, okay? Go through those job postings, and you can either do this on a notes app, you can do this in a Google Drive, a Word doc, or you can take an old school highlighter, 2 old school highlighters. And I want you to first identify all of the things in the job posting that say, this is what the job is, this is what the requirements are, all those things that you actually do have in your background, right? So if it says, This person will coordinate schedules for all of our stakeholder meetings. If you've had to coordinate schedules, highlight that. Let's say you highlight it in yellow. Or let's say you make a list. You're going to make 2 lists, the things I have and the things I don't. Okay? So I want you to first identify everything in those job postings, in those 3 to 5 job postings that you have in your background. Okay? The next thing I want you to do is identify everything in those job postings that you do not have in your background. All right? So now you got a list of 2 things you have and things you don't. Now, the things you have is going to do 2 things for you. It's going to build your confidence and your efficacy, because a lot of times when you're trying to pivot into another role, you're like, I don't have experience doing that. I've never done it before. I'm probably not going to be able to go into this role. But when you're reading through those requirements and you start to see, oh, wait, I have done this stuff. Oh, wait, I do have this education in my background. Oh, I do know how to use these tools. It's going to build your confidence about moving into that role. So that's thing 1. Thing 2, it's also going to give you the language that you need to put in your resume and on your LinkedIn, because it's telling you how we talk about this role, this type of role across organizations. And you're going to start to see some things that are very similar across those organizations. You're going to see some things repeated in those roles across different organizations. You don't know how to talk about this role because you've never been in the role, right? And the stuff that you're putting on your resume doesn't sound like this role, but now you have stuff to put on your resume. Okay? So that is thing 1. You're going to look at the list of things I have and you're going to put that stuff on your resume. Okay? Now you're going to look at the list of things you don't have. Now, this is not your let me beat myself up, I'm not good enough list. That's not what that is. That list is going to do 2 things for you. 1, it is going to tell you what you need to do to prepare even more for transitioning into that role. That doesn't mean you can't transition into the role until you do these things, but this becomes your development plan. So if they say we need someone who knows how to use Jira. Jira is a project management tool. Sign up for the free trial. Make it one of your action items to sign up for the free trial and get familiar with Jira. If it's something a little bit more in depth that you don't have experience with, what I want you to do, A, I want you to make a development plan. Let me figure out how I'm gonna do these things. And then B, I also want you to be prepared to speak to how you don't have this stuff, but you're working on it. So that when you land in an interview, you see how I'm speaking very affirmatively, okay? When you land in an interview, you come there equipped to talk about the things that you don't have in your background. That gives you the power, right? Because a lot of times people go into interviews and go into conversations nervous about someone calling out a gap in their experience and in their background. But if you are already prepared to talk about that, you don't have to be afraid. So if someone says, I want you to have experience with XYZ, if the job posting says, I want you to have experience with XYZ, you can go into that interview saying, I know I don't have, or my resume and my background don't show a lot of experience with this, but I have started taking a Coursera course on this. I've already downloaded the software and started, playing around with it. And this is not playing around with it. Don't say that in the interview, but you can illustrate how you have already started engaging and building knowledge in that and saying that you're working towards it. Also, let's say it's something that you can go get a certification for or do a boot camp for. Go ahead and put that on your resume and your LinkedIn, because a lot of companies love to see people going through boot camps. If that's something you're already doing, okay? If that's part of your development plan, go ahead and put that on your resume. You don't have to wait until you're done with the boot camp to apply for the jobs or to start having these conversations, okay? So that is general advice for anybody trying to pivot and transition into another career. Just so you know, there is a YouTube video about transitioning careers on my YouTube channel that talks about all of this in more detail. Let's see. All right, there we go. I answered all the Instagram questions. I love your description of a project manager. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, I think I answered all the questions. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This was fun. It was cool to hang out with you. It's 11:40. Again, I will do this on Instagram and YouTube every last Saturday of the month, but it will start to be on Quick Commuting's Instagram and YouTube. So feel free to follow us on Instagram, follow Quick Commuting on Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube. And then if you want to hang out with me every week, because again, I'm fun and I know what I'm talking about, you can join the Quick Commuting Academy. And I do a live coaching call every Saturday with our community. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for stopping by and good luck. I see that you said for your specialization, there are less remote roles and they're usually government funded. I mean, I will say this, consider what parameters you are drawing around yourself, because you said your specialization and you said nonprofit and you said government. Do you have to work in your specialization? Do you have to work in nonprofits? If that's something that you want to do, I totally get it. There definitely are a lot less remote roles for government-based jobs and nonprofit jobs, for sure. I will agree with you on that. That is true. So then the question for you is that the place that you want to stay in? Oh, somebody asked, what are my thoughts on DEI consulting curriculum development in the near future? I don't know. I think DEI is under fire, but I am not a professional. I'm not, what is the word? I'm not an expert on DEI, so I can't speak to it. It is, God, what is happening in DEI right now? But DEI consulting curriculum, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I'm not an expert in DEI. Again, I'm not an HR professional, and I never have been an HR professional. That's something that I do not keep on the low. I'm very open and honest about the fact that I've never been an HR professional. But you know who might be a good person to have that conversation with is Deetra. My girl, Deetra Giles, who co-hosted the Quick Commuting Conference with me. She has been in the DEI space. She's been in the HR space. She is an HR professional. And she has been for a long time. So I don't know. I don't know about my thoughts on a DEI consulting curriculum development in the near future. What's the IG page again? It's Quick Commuting. Oh, mine or the Quick Commuting account? I'll give you both. My Instagram is Libryia Jones. Straightforward. It's my name. And then the Quick Commuting Instagram is quit_commuting on Instagram. Somebody said here in Texas, DEI is DOA. Child, I am not going to turn this into a DEI. I'm not doing that. Y'all not going to bait me into that. It is unfortunate what's happening in DEI. That's all I have to say about that. I'm interested to see what happens on the other side of the election. We'll see how it plays out. Yeah. All right, guys. Happy Saturday. Thanks for hanging out.